All right, day 2 of padded practices. Overall, day 4, practice 4 in the books. Gus Kattengell, Bryan, and Ola East here. Kind of just giving you a weekend recap, really, of all the different things that stood out. Bryan, there was a lot of action, really, when you start to it. And obviously, the first thing fans want to know and talk about who stood out. And, dude, it has to be the guy who made the last play in practice on Sunday, rookie receiver Traquan Smith.
He's been almost unstoppable, Gus. I mean, it's absolutely amazing that this rookie third-round pick has come in, and he looks like one of Breeze's favorite targets. In fact, on the last play you mentioned, he catches a ball, jumps up, goes, lays out to go and get it, and Breeze runs downfield at least 40 yards to go pick him up off the ground and congratulate him. That's exactly the type of guy that Traquan Smith is showing to be, and it's not just one play, it's consistent play with him.
I mean, don't get us wrong, right? Obviously, us in the media, we'll go tweet and, we'll make somebody a weekend hero, training camp hero, but I think that's significant when your starting quarterback makes the effort to run down there and go congratulate him. And he went up. He got up a little slowly. Nothing was wrong with him, but just the point that he went up there, absorbed the contact, made it. But he's done that every day so far in padded practices. And look, we just go by what coaches and players say. You find out when the pads go on. Coach Payton talked about how you'll see how's a player carry it. And Curtis Johnson yesterday, Bryan, said something that really stood out to me when he was talking about Traquan Smith and he was asked about him. He said he has long speed. He has the ability to get past people, and he's showing strength, he's showing smarts. And when you get number 9 go and give you dap after a play, he also got his confidence.
Yeah, no question about that, man. And when you just think about the ability that he's shown so far to just get downfield and stretch the field, this is only one element to his game. We still haven't seen him yet do the crossing routes. In fact, we saw him do a long post pattern today in which he kind of puts a hand on the ground, gets up, he continues to track, he scores a touchdown. But we haven't seen his blocking ability yet. We haven't seen
something
him
he says he likes to do.
Exactly.
Right.
So we're only seeing one part of the arsenal. If that kid has more to his game, then look out, because the Saints offense is going to be 2011 worthy rolling.
He definitely stood out over the last 2 days. The other players, I thought Von Bell had a nice practice. Look, a lot's been said about Kurt Coleman. He's going to add a lot to the safety core here as well. But Von Bell, I thought the last 2 days padded practices, he's come and made some plays. They had something that we tweeted a video out earlier today on practice, had a good read, nice read, got in there. He said yesterday when he met with the media, he's now going into his 3rd season under Dennis Allen. He feels comfortable, and you brought up the fact that the defense overall looks like they're playing faster. Well, Bell brings up the point. If I know where I'm going, I just react.
Yeah, no question. And when you watch Bell out there playing, man, you can see his comfort. You can see his confidence growing with each and every snap that he gets out there and he makes a big play happen. The one thing I've been most impressed about is his ability to be in the box. He's everywhere. So he's starting off in the box, and then he's dropping 10 to 15 yards back in coverage, still making plays. And it just seems like the defense as a whole is getting their hands on everything. And I love what I'm seeing, especially from him.
Marcus Williams had an interception on Sunday off of a tip ball. And again, he just had the secondary tips overall, Bryan. I keep seeing a lot of tip balls. I just see defensive backs all over the field making things difficult. PJ Williams had a nice tip today. Devontae Harris, how many PBUs in 2 days?
I believe that's 3 for him, but it's been 5 for Justin Hardy alone. So,
right.
I mean, we're talking about just between the two of those guys, 8 PBUs going down. And it just seems as if, I don't know if it's something that they're coaching or if the guys will just have those kind of instincts.
At the last second, the hand comes in just enough. They might get beat on the route, but it's just enough to make it an incompletion.
And they're still making plays. So if this defense is going to play with the kind of swaggering that we saw last season, only they're going to play faster because they know where they're going, it could be a really good season for the Saints based on those young guys improving from year 1 to year 2.
Let's touch on the defense. And again, we just continue to see it. We're 4 days in. I understand I haven't played anybody, but Marshawn Lattimore in day 1, folks, came out and flat out said, we want to be top 5, if not the number 1 defense in the NFL. And from what we see depth, we see better linebacking play, but we're just finished talking about the secondary, really. I don't see why not, Bryan. They have a swag to them. They're making this offense frustrated. Drew Brees yesterday, frustrated. Sean Payton was short. He was frustrated. He was frustrated again today. We find ourselves more and more after a team period, after 7-on-7, after a 1-on-1, that the defense is winning the play.
Yeah, you can see it out there, and it's really easy to spot because you can tell when number 9 is grabbing at his chin strap and he's throwing his helmet, things like that, and, clapping his hands. You already know the defense is getting the best of them. In fact, I think it was a concerted effort for the offense today to go out there and basically just say, you know what, we had enough of this nonsense.
Yeah,
We're
you can see it in Breeze's demeanor.
Together.
He was
no
a little
question.
hurried up.
The
It wasn't just
drills, the
practice.
7-on-7. I mean, it looks like the offense took it personally that the defense has been getting the best of them, and you know what, that's only going to be better for when they take the field against a team like Tampa week 1.
obviously you take a look at position battles, and even we're speaking with Deuce McAllister a little bit. He's like, don't worry about where a lot of people line up in certain areas and positions. Sheldon Rankins, though, you do notice, because he's a guy that obviously was a high draft pick as a starter. Last 2 days wasn't with the ones to start. Sean Fazan, Fox 8, was like, hey, could be a message sent, and right on cue, about two team periods in a row, Bryan, you saw people writing down number 98, pass block, going in there, making a play, pressure in the backfield. So whether it's a message or not, look, you're going to have a lot of rotation up front, but that it's just something that stands out when Rankins is not there first. It was on Yamada, who's been having a good praying.
Yeah, no question. And it's the idea that Sheldon Rankins, to me, was going to be the breakout player simply because of what Cam Jordan consistently said last year. He was facing double and triple teams because he had to be the guy to open up the field for Cam Jordan. Well, this time around, you have a guy like possibly Okafor being back. You have the rookie Marcus Davenport being able to kind of take some of that pressure off of Rankins. He should explode on the scene this year, but as you stated, I mean, if the guy's going to kind of, lack the motivation needed, and the coaches put him on the twos for a little while to kind of get him started, well, apparently it's working now because he came out those last two team periods and was ready to go.
One of the things we always talked about already was the expectation level, obviously, of coming this team. How do they handle it? I think competition helps that, and also having a head coach that's on your butt. And he's been frustrated the last 2 days. In particular, you saw not only with the offensive play, but he's harping on execution. If you ask him about Davenport, if you ask him about obviously Traquan Smith, it's, hey, they still have a long way to go. So he doesn't want people eating the cheese or writing too much about him. But you saw today, he used an analogy that really tells you where this coach is. We've talked about offense. We've talked about defense. Bryan's special teams was what got him irked up today. You heard him having some choice language and words for the players trying to get returners. Look, we've seen it since day one. Drop punts, not exactly looking very crisp in special teams, but in particular return game. The analogy he used was a television show.
The Bachelor. So oddly enough, he uses The Bachelor to say, we got 12 contestants and we haven't found one winner just yet. It's the idea that he said he doesn't care if they have to get a rose, a limo, something needs to take place.
He called it a two-part series because he said kick returner, punt returner. But he was ticked off, and he made that to make it a point. And we know, since he's been here since 2006, nothing that comes out of his mouth is not done for a purpose. So that is a message sent when you tell your teammates that this is now turned into The Bachelor to try to go find a punt returner, because we will find something. He's saying what you and I have been talking about on the show, and we've been saying a lot on the Sports Hangover. This is going to be a tough season. They have a lot of teams in the NFC that can compete. It could come down to field position on if you can return that kick 5-10 extra yards, if you can get a field goal out of it. It's going to, every yard, I think, is going to matter in these games. The Saints are going to be in some close games, not because they're not good. It's just there's a lot of competition in the NFC, and I love seeing that from Coach. Day 4, practice 4. He's hitting it right now in this team's head. Every aspect of this team is as important. It's not just starting, not offense, defense, special teams. If not, what do you say? We'll go bleeping find somebody to go do it.
I think that was the message I took from it. We can cut through the chase and say simply, if they can't find a guy in practice right now, it will not be long before they go and get somebody. And that's a direct message to the guys that are trying out right now. Even a guy that we know is going to be on offense and playing well, that's Alvin Kamara. Even he has, drawn Sean Payton's ire for special teams play.
Yeah, no doubt. So that's just the weekend recap. Again, the first 2 days were more like OTA practices. Saturday, Sunday, pads were on. Lots of highlights you got into. Again, to me, you have to be happy on a rookie like Traquan Smith standing out already. But again, lots to get into. Tuesday's their first scheduled day off, so one more padded practice tomorrow. They'll get back at it. Saturday, another padded practice that's open to the fans. Sunday, they'll be in Yulman Stadium, so that'll be a little different atmosphere. And then, folks, it's preseason game week as they take on the Jags, so it's right around the corner. Should be fun.
No question. I'm excited, man. I mean, from what we've seen thus far, now that the pads are on, guys are really, really, really into it. The competition is the iron sharpen irons mentality that Ted Ginn talked about. Guys are ready to fly around the football, and most importantly, after hitting each other for a few practices, especially going into next week, they'll be ready for week 1 preseason to hit somebody else. I want to see how the competition continues. Will these guys continue to bring their A games, and will guys who we've been talking about, Traquan Smith, can he show the consistency? If he can, he looks like he has the ability to be the number 2, number 3 receiver.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, keep following us. We'll give you more and more information, obviously, on the show, 12 to 3, your Sports Hangover. Bryan on Twitter, at BryanTNR.
Indeed.
And we're getting ready for it. So, should be fun. Now we can just get some cooler temperatures in here to be fun. I'm not complaining. Anyway, thanks for tuning in.